everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Communications from Home, right here at Facebook at Star Nation Organization's main fan page, where I do about 99.9% of my live streams for Star Nations. And tonight is Tuesday, September 10th. Do you know what I really, really, really love the 10th of every month? I do. It makes me happy. Why? Is because the 10th of each month is Star Nations Magazine's publishing day. And it is so fulfilling and happy and joyful and relieved. Like, all right, we made it through another issue. And so, yes, today we are sharing about Star Nations Magazine, the September issue number 76. Can you believe that? 76. We have published 76 issues of Star Nations Magazine. It's a lot. And we have quite a bit of experience under our belt now, I do believe. So tonight, that's what that's all about. But you know what? It's also about being a seeker, a seeker of information, knowledge, right? And as spiritual beings that are awake on our earth journey here, our earth walk, we are seekers. We're looking for information all the time, right? Spiritual information that can validate, that can point us in the right direction, that can bring some relief, right? Yeah, it's all those things. But before we actually get rolling into the information and sharing our stories, I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to send this live stream over to my newsfeed so that I can remind my friends that I'm live streaming. And seeing if they'll like to come out and play. So please join me in the live chat. And do you know what we're going to do tonight? I can't wait for this. I'm going to give away a September issue of Star Nations Magazine. Yes, I'm going to do that. I think that those that'll be watching in the live stream, you guys are going to receive something that is going to be so helpful, so really helpful to your spiritual journey. And I think I better send our show over to one of our closed groups too, before I forget. So easy to forget. I'm going to send it over to the Star Nations live stream closed group. And just to remind the peeps over there that I'm live streaming. And that's where most of our active community members are at, is in that particular group. So then I'm going to ask them to please join us. Go. There we go. So that way they also know that I'm live streaming. There, I think that'll work. Turn down the sound on my phone. There we go. Yay. So the thing is that when I'm in the Be Live studio and producing my show, I don't really see anybody's comments or know that you're even there unless you comment. And so if you'd like me to know that you're in the live chat, I just say, hey, Neshi, hi, Neshi, and or just even plain hello. We'll do it just to let me know that you're in the live chat. I do have my phone with me, obviously, and so I can monitor it that way, but it's so much easier if I can see it in the chat, in the live chat. So today was Tuesdays are always busy here at Star Nations, always. But you throw in, it coincides with a publishing day. It coincides with a mastermind meeting. It was a Zoom telephone video chat. And so it was a busy day. It was a busy day, so busy that I had to choose between the business call and my other show, which is a spiritual roundtable. And so I had to take the call because there's some stuff that's coming up with Star Nations that I think is pretty exciting, and that I need to make sure that I'm in the right place at the right time. and so it was a very busy day. I published a magazine, and I also packed for my upcoming trip. I don't know if you guys saw my personal live stream on my profile, my newsfeed. I was testing out a selfie light too. Yeah. Hey, look who's here. Rob's here. Hello. He says, I'm not going to comment because I don't want you to know I'm here. I'm hiding. Oh, you're in hiding again. Still. Angela's here. Hi, Angela. Good to have you here. And look, Sabrina's here too. Hello, Sabrina. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. And so just so that you know that if you just, joined us, is that I'm giving away a print copy of Star Nations magazine, September issue, the newest issue tonight before the end of the show. Okay. And so if you'd like to be involved in the giveaway, just say magazine or Star Nations magazine in the chat. And so I know that you're interested in winning a free issue, print issue. We like to give away the print issues. I'll tell you why. Is because there is still something about holding the tangible magazine, right? But we also have it available in PDF form, and also web viewer form, and also for your smart phone and tablets. So yeah, it's good stuff. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about being a seeker, and then we'll get into the information about the magazine, the backstory, all the good stuff that you don't necessarily even know that happened unless I share it with you, right? And so, hey, oh my goodness, Tina's here. Hello, Tina. Good for you to be here, and hugs to you. And Lisa's here too. Hello, Lisa. Lisa lives in a town I used to live in. Yeah. Rob says, I must be. I don't know where I am half the time. It could be the aging process too. Jen is saying, hi, Neshi. I made it. Yes, you did. And it's got to be like really late at night. It's not morning time yet. Jen is in Australia. That's why we're trying to guess what time it is down there. Teresa, one of my sisters is in the house. She's saying, hey, Neshi, I'm excited that you're going on a travel adventure. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Angela says, magazine, please. We'll put your name in there, Angela. And Sabrina said, would love the magazine. Okay, great. And Lynn Mercy, I got a copy. I'm still reading mine. Oh, yeah. Well, let me know what you think about it, Lynn Marie. I have to tell you that the magazine, the creation process around the magazine, I just love it. It fits me so well because, being a triple fire, I'm a triple Sagittarian. And so there's a lot of energy there, right? And so I just love the very beginnings of a project, right? Ed Langdon called me a creator. No, what is that? Creative. I'm a creative. And so having that kind of energy every month, and we also have a completion, right? And so it's so much fun to create this magazine for you. And the other thing that it fits really well is I remember when a couple of decades ago, actually, when I decided that I wanted to know more about me being a spiritual being, right? And so I was on the hunt. I was on the search for spiritual information, and I couldn't read enough books. I couldn't read them fast enough. I really had to pick and choose which classes I was going to go to because, registration is sometimes pretty expensive. And so you have to kind of plan for that, right? And so I know what it's like to be a seeker. I do. And how many people in the live chat, how many people would say that they too are seekers of spiritual information? And one of the reasons why I think we do that is because we're looking for validation, right? We're looking for validation that something that you've experienced really did happen, really did happen. It also brings a sense of relief many times because it's like, okay, I'm not the only one, I'm not the only one that senses the presence of a being that you can't see. I'm not the only one that smells my dad's aftershave lotion and he's been gone for how many years, right? I'm not the only one that hears this voice speaking to me and telling me about things that are going to happen or giving me information about something that has already happened. I'm not the only one, right? And so many times we're out there, we feel like we're out there all alone, right? That there's nobody I can talk to in my community because they'd think I'm crazy or be known as the hippie on the corner, that kind of stuff, the tree hugger. Yeah. And depending on where you're at, some communities aren't real accepting of Wiccan religion, belief system. And so you kind of feel like you're all alone. Well, I want to let you know that you're not. You're not alone. That's one of the reasons why I started Star Nations magazine. Really. 5 years ago, I was sitting at my dining room table and my mom was in her room and she was listening to, I don't know, probably MSNBC. But I was sitting at the dining room table with my laptop, and at that time, I still had my other business, Sacred Hoop, and I was doing blogging. I've been blogging since 1998, and so it was getting kind of old, and so I was looking for a different way or a new way to blog, and so I was considering vlogging, and so I was researching a bunch of stuff. And in comes this email from a friend of mine, Tammy, saying, "Oh, I got this this email, and I thought maybe you'd be interested in this particular class or something." And so I thought I'd just pass it on to you, right? And it was about a class, but if you scrolled all the way down, there was different opportunities within that same company. And one of them happened to be a digital magazine. So I clicked on it because, what kind of digital magazine? I mean, my curiosity. And so I clicked on it, and that is where I found a company that would help you develop the app for a digital magazine. And I have to tell you, it was just like being thunderstruck. I knew without a doubt that this was something I was supposed to do. And so it was in that moment, it was like, okay, scary, scary, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm jumping in. And that was the first time I'd ever created an app, right? And so the story began. That journey with the Star Nations magazine began. Yeah. And I get to work with some really nice people, sweet souls, our contributing writers. They're all spiritual teachers, spiritual leaders, spiritual writers. They come from a really strong background. They've been around the block a few times, and they have loads of experience, and they have a lot of compassion. And so when they write their articles, they're writing for you, our readers, and hoping to help you find what you're looking for, what you're searching for. Yeah. And I also get to work with some pretty good techs too. Elm Publishing, they're our layout specialists. And let me tell you, there is such a thing. There is such a thing as elfin magic, because they can turn an okay picture into a great picture. The kinds of layouts that they do for us with the magazine, they really help our raw material sing, I think. And I know I'm partial. I know I'm partial. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to get caught up with you guys in the chat here. Edward's here too. He says, hello, I'm up late for this one. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Edward, for being here. He's from England. Thank you for staying up late. Oh my gosh. He says, yes, can't read enough. I know. It's like being a sponge, isn't it? I used to read like 3 books at one time and listen to an audiobook way back when. Yeah. Voracious reader. And I swear that is one of the commonalities that spiritual communities have, is that we read a lot. We do. Sabrina's saying, yes, and living this 3D life. Yep. And sometimes, when you're not connected to a community, or and you really do feel kind of alone out there, it's like, I'm the only one that's going through this. Yeah, when you're not. You're not. Just look at all the shows that we have on here at Star Nations, right? And if you've ever listened to one, you kind of want to go out and see, okay, what else do they have? Because we're so eclectic here. We have a wide range of belief systems, and so accepting of each other, right? And our different beliefs, supportive of each other. And it shows through the magazine too, I think. I really do think that. And Jen is saying, I'm a seeker, and yes, it is a validation. I'm not crazy. That's right. That's right. Jen, do you remember the first time that you received validation or verification that, yes, that really did happen, and no, you're not alone? Do you remember what that was? Yeah, most of us do. That very first time, right? That very first time. My very first time where I came out of the spiritual closet, so to speak, was with my own family. It was a dream that I had about one of my uncles walking on, and my aunt came to me in a dream, asking me if I could help her with her husband. And then I had to sit back and wait. What was that about? Well, he had Parkinson's and he was crossing over. And so she called me just to let me know. And I asked her, Auntie, is it okay if I come? Where are you? I want to come to you. And so she told me where she was. And so I kind of invited myself in. But it was that was the very first something big validation about that. Then it was like opening the door. It was like global stuff that would come to me. Right. Rob is saying, even after choosing a path, we still seek on that path. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I think that that's a part of us, isn't it? As a two-legged, it's a part of us to continue seeking. And when we feel like we're finished with that, chances are you're ready to go on to the next experience, right? Yeah, I love reading. He says, you as sane as the rest of us? Why, yes, I am. Jen says, the day I stop seeking is the day I no longer to be here. That's right. That's right. Totally agree with that. Totally agree. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about the cover. A little bit about the cover. Let's give it a solo so you can really take a look at it. This particular cover, I had 2 or 3 of them, images picked out for the cover. And we hadn't done a astronomy photo in quite a while. And so I had one, a nebula, I think it was. That was up. It was really, really very pretty. But it just didn't sing. It was pretty, but it didn't pull things together, right? And this particular picture I had picked out for another article that you're going to see in a minute. And I had the elves, that's what I call my layout specialist. I had the elves do a mock-up of this particular image as well. And as soon as I looked at it, I said, oh my gosh, there it is. There it is. This little boy who is just jumping for joy off of a hay bale really helped us pull together the titles on the page, on that cover. Yeah, you could feel it. And the thing is that a lot of times it's the same feeling that I get when I'm making a hand drum. There's a moment when you're making a hand drum when you can feel the spirit of that drum go into the drum. It takes on a life, an essence, right? And so the astronomy picture cover was pretty. It really was. Did it catch your eye? Yes, it did. But it didn't sing. And as soon as I saw this particular cover, I felt like the essence of the magazine, the spirit of the magazine was in this particular cover. This young boy jumping for joy, right? And in a lot of ways, I thought of it as our inner child, right? Jumping for joy. Because when you look at the different titles that are on the cover, the chakra healing, the clear audience information, the Nile inundation, the flooding of the Nile, hugely spiritual, and also the window to the soul, right? And it just came together, and yeah, I could feel it. And and honestly, that is one of the things, another piece that is, I just love about creating this magazine. Edward is saying, I did a reading for a psychiatrist assessing me who didn't think I was so crazy after all. Good for you, Edward. Good for you. That's nothing like stepping into your gift, right? Claiming it, owning it, and saying, this is me. This is me. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Edward, because I'm sure that there's others out there that probably either have done the same thing or on the verge of that, right? So thanks for sharing that. So this is the cover of the September issue. Yeah. And actually, it could be dawn or it could be dusk. It's up to you and how you want to take that in. For me, it felt like a sunrise. Jumping for joy. And I didn't grow up on a farm. I didn't do that. I grew up in the country, but not on a farm. But this little guy, you can just feel his joy, can't you? Yeah. All right. So let's see. I want to bring up another picture for you because we're going to talk a little bit about clairaudience. Clairaudience. When I did my show last week on clairaudience, that was the first time I'd ever done that, and that particular topic in that way. And I have to say that it was an ear opening. I got so many comments and private messages about being clairaudient. And so I think that we really touched on something. And thank you for those who were in the live chat that night and sharing your stories and your questions, because you guys really did help a great deal of people. So here is the next article. Sacred Masculine is the title of the column, and it's written by Anthony Charette. And some of you may know him as Tony Charette, right? Tony is Native American, and he's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He is Ojibwa. He's part of the Anishinaabe people. The Anishinaabe people are the Ojibwa, the Potawatomi, and the Ottawa. Okay, and I happen to be Potawatomi. So the story goes is that the three brothers of those three fires came out east together, and so we have very similar belief systems and very similar ceremonies. Okay. And so when Tony was wrote this particular article, he is clairaudient, and he's also clairvoyant. But what he brings with him, I have a pileated woodpecker outside the window doing his call. I don't know if you guys could hear him. That's yeah, they're very, very unique call. So anyway, Tony writes from the perspective of a Native American man, but he's two-spirited, okay? And he's hopefully in 2020, he's going to be helping us understand from a Native perspective, what does that mean to be two-spirited? Okay, but in his article here with the clairvoyance, is calling clairaudience is calling your name, and I think you guys are really going to like this article because he is sharing with you what it's like, what it's about to be clairaudient and Native American and an empath, right? Yeah. So one of the things that he talks about in here is something that's called soft ears. Soft ears. And that comes from a native language that describes what it's like to be, to hear spirit. So, this is what I meant about us, Star Nations being eclectic, right? So here we have a Native American point of view about clairaudience. And then we're also going to have another point of view from a different perspective. And so as you're reading the magazine, you can choose for yourself which one resonates with you. And maybe it's not the entire article that resonates with you, but maybe it is part of the information that when you read it, it goes, that's it. I got that. I felt that, right? So Tony definitely writes from his heart. And he has a very keen sense of humor. It's kind of dry. And and he's a rather traditionalist. I don't know. Maybe we're going to make up a new term here. It's almost like a Renaissance man in a traditional Native American way. Yeah. Well, I should probably interview him again so that you guys could really meet him. And he's a really good teacher too. Yeah. And he does readings and that sort of thing. Yeah. And his day job, paralegal. So he's got this logical mind too. All right. Clairaudience. Now we're going to bring up the next one. And here we go. This is Window to the Soul. The name of the column is Wisdom Keeper's Path, and it's by Eddie Mullins. And Eddie Mullins, he has been with Star Nations for 5 years as a writer. He was also a radio show host when we first started. And Eddie, I just enjoy having his energy in Star Nations. He is someone who carries a pretty high vibration, right? And some people, when they read his information, they go, huh? And he knows this. And really, he really stresses is when you're reading is to really feel the energy from the words, right? Because our mental mind might not truly get his point of view, but your soul's going to feel it. And you're going to feel it in different parts of your chakra system, your energy centers, right? And so to really take in the vibration of the words. Yeah. I'd like to know more about Jim. Jim, you mean Tony? Did you mean Tony? Yeah, him. I'd like to know more about him. Yeah. I will see if I can have him come on as a guest before the end of the year. I should probably have him on in November because he's doing a feature article in November. So why don't I try to do that? I'll see if he's got a Tuesday evening available for that. This is what Eddie says about his September issue article. He says, when we begin to explore the mystery of our treasured feelings from a place of truth and deep infinite love, we begin to live and arrive through our soul's wisdom. That's just an example of how Eddie writes. He also shares about the importance of surrendering and letting go of old conditional programming and embrace the becoming of the multi-dimensional paradigm. Right? And so if you are one of those seekers that you're into the deep end of the pool, you might want to take a look at Eddie's articles, because he certainly is in the deep end of the pool. Yeah. Yeah, I just love Eddie. He, I tell you what, when we sit down and have a chat, an hour can go by, and it was like, what happened? Because we have so much to say to each other and enjoy the conversation, right? And enjoy the conversation. So he writes under Wisdom Keeper's Path. He named his column, and it's so appropriate for him. It really is, a Wisdom Keeper's Path. So if you are a seeker and you're in the deep end of the pool, check him out. Check out Eddie Mullins. And I have to say, there are several of us that go to Eddie for readings here at Star Nations. Yeah, the entire team. Yeah, there's many of us who seek Eddie out for readings from him, because he comes from a very different perspective in his readings. Yeah. Rob is saying, is that the same as going off the deep end? Not quite. No, because with Eddie, you're in the deep end. You're not going off the deep end. You're in the deep end. All right, Jen. Jen is saying, I was driving through a wild storm, and a woman in a long flowing dress stood in front of my car. Then a huge tree laying across the road just stood back up into the bush. Weirdest experience. A little old Tanzanian lady told me it was not time for me to go yet. The name of the woman, and that I was going to hit a tree. Mom validated the name. She got very upset and said never to talk to her about that stuff ever again. Oh my. Yeah. And so, when you have your mom saying, because it was her fear, right? That was coming to the surface, her fear. So what'd you do after that, Jen? Did you continue to listen to your intuition and to spirit speaking to you? Or did you basically kind of shove it aside, right? Because you can never really turn it off. You can ignore it. It's still there. You can't get rid of it. It's a part of you. And so did you just push it aside and ignore it, or did you continue? Yeah, that's a big question, isn't it? All right. Let me bring down the next picture, and we'll see who we're doing next. And, oh, goodness. All right. All right. This Celebrations of Fall. This is coming under the column called Nourishing Body and Soul, written by Sharon Rosenblum. Sharon Rosenblum. Now, Sharon, man, she does a lot for us here at Star Nations. Sharon is a contributing writer. She has her own column, but she is also one of our main copy editors. She edits just about everything that goes out to the public. She helps to edit books that we're publishing. And she is an editor for about half of the contributing writers here at Star Nations. She is a professional editor. She's a freelance photographer. She is a writer. She used to be an English teacher, a high school English teacher years ago. And so Sharon is one of my sisters as well. Sharon and I are very close. And the reason why I picked her article and the title for this particular magazine cover was because it was something that I asked her to do, oh gosh, months and months ago. Okay, months and months ago. She wrote about fall and that how September is one of our busiest months, pretty much across the board. Okay, because September for many people is the time frame when their children are going back to school. And here in the States, we're celebrating Labor Day, right? In September, end of August. Yeah. And so it's a very busy time because we also have to add in a lot of the harvesting is being done. Farmers are out in their fields and they're bringing in the corn and the wheat, and it's a big harvest month as well. So there's a lot of energy being expended in the month of September, right? And so what she writes is that what a busy month. She says September has many celebrations from Labor Day to academics resuming. And here's what she does to help bring some levity and joy into the month of September. She shares with us how to celebrate using one of her favorite foods, pizza. Pizza. Now, why pizza in September, right? Well, I had asked her months and months and months ago if she could please include before the end of the year recipes for pizza that those who are intolerant to glucose, not glucose. What am I thinking of? It's in the bread. I lost the word. Rob, help me out. Did you ever have that? It's a menopausal moment. Might be a good time to take a sip of water. Give me a break. Gluten. Thank you, Angela. Gluten. And Jen, thank you so much. You know, it was like right there. All right. So the recipes. She actually has a recipe for a fruit pizza with a gluten-free crust. It's really good. It's really, really good. And she uses almond flour for one and cauliflower for another. And I tell you what, we're trying out some of those recipes, especially the cauliflower one. She said out of all three of them, that's her favorite one. And it has joy with it. Because how many of us who have issues with gluten and other, like the tomato-based sauces or even the cheeses, right? There was a time when we really, really liked pizza. And then, over time, we get intolerant to some of these things, right? And so Sharon is giving back to us a way to have a food that we enjoy, but it's healthy for us too. Yeah. So take a look at those recipes. You might find one there that resonates with you and it can bring you some happiness because you're eating pizza. You're eating pizza. It's good stuff. Nourishing body and soul. And Sharon is so good at adapting recipes, taking a traditional, everyday kind of cookbook recipe and converting it into a recipe that people who have gluten issues can have, or people who have nightshade issues can have. She's really, really good at that. She's very creative too. Yeah. Jen is saying, I think you will find many are actually glyphosate intolerant more than gluten. Yes, that's true. From the spraying of the crop. That is true. And so the thing is that the flour that she's using in the recipes aren't crops, comes from crops that are sprayed. Right? Yeah. So they were just really good. You know, if you have the desire, if it resonates with you, try one of them out, one of those recipes out, because it's really good. I'm going to do the cauliflower one. All right, next one. One of my favorite people's here. Now, this lady I've interviewed several times. I don't know if hopefully you've caught in some of those interviews. Leslie Serenisi. She is our resident animal communicator. The title of her column is Communicating with Sacred Animals. And the title of her article is The Voices That I Hear. Now, how many people in the live stream chat are animal communicators? One of your gifts to communicate with animals. I tell you what, being an animal communicator, an empath, and a clairaudient is a very special combination. And Leslie shares with us her experience as an animal communicator, empath, and a clairaudient. I read her article and I tell you what, my heart just went, ah, because she has a way of connecting to an animal that shows such love and compassion, right? And they trust her. They so trust her. Yeah. Rob says, I have on occasion, but not often. Yeah. And I think, for us that have pets, we probably have more communication with them than we're aware of. George and I are talking all the time, right? He's always asking me questions. What's this? What's that? Or that one's scary. It's like, Mom. And so it's like reading Leslie's article is one of those articles that if you are an animal communicator, but you haven't really stepped into that gift and that you're looking for validation, this is a good article, a really good article for that. Yeah. She tells the story about her very first time hearing the voices of the animals, right? And she was just a kid. And talk about trying to turn it off. What she ended up doing was ignoring it. Jen says, I do. They tell us a lot, especially when traveling. They have protected me. Yeah, absolutely. And our connection to our other relatives, right? Our four-legged relatives or those that fly, right? And so with Leslie's article, she's so much fun to talk to too. I want to share with you what she says about her article. And the voices that I hear. She says, have you ever wondered how animal communicators receive the information from the animals? Leslie gives us an inside peek at how animals communicate with her. She can hear the animals speak to her in her head. That makes her clairaudient. Read about the inside story of an animal communicator because it happens all inside for her, all inside. And if you're one of those people who have heard animals speak to you, but you haven't embraced that gift yet because you don't know really what it's all about, this might be a good article for you to start with. One of those readings for that you're just absorbing the information. Yeah. Leslie, one of the interviews that we did with Leslie that stands out to me is the one with the 99 elephants. That was such a tearjerker. Get the Kleenex out, really. She also works at the zoo in Detroit, I think. I think it's in Detroit. It's on that side of the state anyway. And and so she met an African elephant, and the elephant was talking to her. So Leslie made the time to sit down and have a conversation with her. She took her lunch break, and went back over to where the elephants were at and had a conversation with this female elephant. And the story that this female told was just, yeah. And how many elephants are murdered every day that we don't even hear about, right? Yeah, it was a story directly from the elephant and her experience. Tearjerker. I cried. Went through several Kleenexes. It was very emotional. All right, now we're going to bring up the next one. And this one, the column's name is The Witch's Cauldron, and it's written by Adrienne Campbell. And her tagline is honoring the magic of our inner witch. Because she believes that we all have this connection to the earth, and that we all have this Wiccan connection to the earth, because it's old, it's ancient. And so this is actually a featured article, and so it's a little bit longer. Featured articles are about 1,200 to 1,500 words. Okay, so this one is a bit longer than the rest. And she's writing about chakra healing with herbs. Yeah. Rob is saying something here. It says Detroit Zoo. It's actually in Royal Oak. Oh, thank you. I knew it was in Detroit. I just didn't know exactly where. And Edward is saying, Raven and Crow are around me a lot. I'm starting to discover more. They're talking to you, I'm sure. I'm sure they are. And those are the times, for me anyway, I have to go into the silence. I have to connect with them, in that silent place, in the heart. Yeah. So with Adrienne, her gift, her superpower is herbs. And in every article that she writes, she includes a recipe for teas, for bath brews, and every article she includes a recipe using herbs. And we'll also include maybe even the ritual that goes along with it. So if you are someone who is, she's a solitary witch. She doesn't belong to a coven. And so she is myth busting along the way as well, because there's certain stereotypes that are attached to Wicca and also to witchery, right? And it's not what it on the surface that Hollywood has done to it at all. And so Adrienne shows us, writes about it, so that we can see how what resonates with us from a more balanced feminine point of view. Yeah, it's really good. Chakra healing with herbs. And so she goes through each one of the chakras and herbs that can help you within those chakras. In this particular article, she says, this is a fantastic featured article Adrienne shares about plants in our chakras. Did you know that there's a plant associated with each of the energy spirals? Did you know that? Kind of reminded me of Polly Jo LaBeo in a way. When Polly Jo writes about, and on her shows, talks about the chakras and even the power animal in each one of your chakras, this is very similar. We have an herb, a plant, that is in resonance with your chakras individually. Each one of them has one. And the herbs can be used to open and balance the chakras and the physical body. We once purely relied on plant medicine for our health, she writes. And read Adrian's article for more information about how plants can help you have healthy chakras. Yeah. So those of you who really are into gardening and even if you're into nature spirits, because that's all a part of it, right? Connecting with the nature spirits through the plants. Yeah, this particular article, yeah, I think this is one of those ones that you'd keep as a reference, for sure, a reference piece. All right, I think that might be. Let's see. I think I might have one more. I do. Oops. This one. This one. Oh, we're going to take that one down. All right. So this particular article is written by Ortune Franklin. And Ortune is one of our elders here at Star Nations. And she writes under the column, The Mystery School, because she is all things Egyptian Mystery School. She is our resident expert on the Egyptian Mystery School. And this particular picture, I'm going to give this its soul because it's so pretty. This is sunset on the River Nile. Isn't it gorgeous? So in this particular article, Ortune writes about the Nile inundation. That's when the Nile floods, and that it's about spiritual fertilization. So if you're interested in the ancient Egyptian mystery schools, you'll find out from this particular article how important the Nile River was to the ancients and still is important to the people in that country. She says that Ortune leads us down the Nile during an auspicious time of the year, inundation. In the ancient mystery schools, the Nile inundation had a much deeper significance than its outer importance. The outer importance is that it would flood, right? And as it receded, it would leave behind nutrient-rich, right, soils that it carried along with it. And so it would really fertilize and enrich the cropland along the Nile. And that's just the surface. But it also leaves quite a metaphor, too. But you have to find out more by reading it. If you are interested in the Egyptian mystery schools, information, in Egypt, in meditations, yeah, you're going to want to check out Ortune Franklin's work. And this particular article in our magazine is, oh my goodness. Yeah, I read it twice the first time through. Because when I get the articles, they're all edited, but I double check them again for edits. And I read them through because I also have to sometimes I have to find a picture to go with them, right? And so Ortune's, I ended up reading twice the first time through. Yeah. I liked it a lot. I did. And I know I'm not supposed to be, partial, but for that validation and that taking in information, ancient information to help you on your spiritual journey. Yeah. Ortune, every single month, she is the touchstone for that. Yeah, that's why she's one of our elders, and we listen. I get to produce the show, living in two worlds with her and her husband, or Carl, so I get to have front row seat. And once a month, and the last Thursday of every month, that's their showtime. And let me tell you, we have some good conversations in that one. Yeah. So I'm looking at the time. We're almost at the top of the hour. I want to share with you how do you get the magazine, right? That's always good to share. Just a second. I have to get those links. Here we go. So, I told you early in the show that the magazine is a monthly magazine. It is a spiritually based magazine, and it carries an eclectic point of view of topics that are selected for a given month. The writers get to choose which topic they're going to write about. And so sometimes you'll get, like several people wrote about clairaudience in this particular issue, but you get to see the information from at least three different points of view, which where else can you get that all at one time, right? And so you have the chance to go back and reread it if you want to, right? And to keep it as a reference. So here is, I'm going to take this in. Magazine, September issue. And I'm going to put the links in there. So MagCloud is our partners that do the print-on-demand version. They also provide the PDF and also the web viewer. And what are those? The PDF version of the magazine is a version where you can read it on any of your devices. You can read it on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, on your desktop. It's a PDF. So you can read it anywhere because you're going to download it to your hard drive, right? The web viewer is the same thing, but that is in the cloud. So if you're one of those people who don't like to, keep a lot of documents in your hard drive, because, maybe you're getting full, that you can get it and you can keep it in the cloud. And MagCloud has a free app to be able to read the magazine through their app. Okay. Yeah. And so they're our partners for those. Now the digital, we have it in digital for both Apple and Android, and Apple iTunes Store. That's not what they're called anymore. I forget what they're called. But it's you go to iTunes store and you download the free app. Our app is free, and you can purchase the magazine and open the magazine with the free app. Same thing with the Android. So, the thing is, we have you covered. No matter how you like to read your written material, you can get the magazine in any one of those. Yeah. So what I have in the comments section are the links to the three different partners that we have where you can get the magazine. Yeah, and hopefully, please let me know. Let me know which one of the articles was your favorite and why. Right? We don't have very many ads in there. The ads that you see in the magazine are all about Star Nations. We don't have outside ads in our magazine, so you don't have a lot of, it doesn't take up a lot of space. We try to keep the print magazine under $20. So with shipping, sometimes it'll go over, maybe to $23 to $25. But we try to keep the print magazine under 60 pages, so it's affordable, because printing is so expensive, especially color printing, right? All right, so there you have it. I do really enjoy this magazine, the creation process, and to actually see it completed, and then to hear how much you guys really enjoy it. I've had a few people contact me even late this afternoon saying that they had their copy and they really enjoyed whatever article that they were reading at the time, to let me know. And so it's good stuff. And I have to let you know, my mom reads the articles or the issues every month as well. So does my mother-in-law. Yeah. So they share a copy. I get a copy and they share it. And my mom gets it first usually, because she's right there at the house, right? And so we have two very elderly ladies who are also reading the magazine. I think I like that a lot. All right. So thank you so much for being with me this evening for Communications from Home and sharing about being a seeker of spiritual information to help us along our way, right? To help us on our journey here, our earth walk as spiritual beings, and how our Star Nations magazine can support you in your journey here. And as a seeker to seeker, yeah, we have all kinds of information that's available to you, both in the present issue, the September issue, but also you might want to take a look at any of the back issues as well. There's only 75 of them to go through. There might be one or two articles that would be really good for you to read, right? All right. So we're going to select who is going to win the free magazine. Lisa said the magazine in print would hold beautiful energy, would it not? It definitely would. It does. All right. So you're welcome, Angela. I'm gonna select who's gonna win the print magazine. And I'm scrolling so that wherever I stop. And that's Sabrina Cardillo. Did I say that right? Sabrina Cardillo. Hang on. Whoops. Sorry. Scrolled. All right. Sabrina. Okay. So here we go, Sabrina. What I need is your postal address. Okay. So if you can PM me, that's Yvette Neshi Lokotz, right? If you can PM me your snail mail address, your postal address, we'll get that sent out to you. It's going to come to you directly from Mag Cloud. Okay. And so just send me your address and we'll get that sent to you as soon as we can. It does take a few days, all right, because it's print on demand. Once we order it, it could take a week to 2 weeks to have it printed and shipped to you. So know that it'll be there at least in 2 weeks, okay? All right, so send me your email, your postal address. Sabrina. Enjoy it, Sabrina. All right. Edward is saying, thanks so much. I will check out the magazine. Just gone 2 a.m. Oh my gosh. Get some sleep, Edward. Get some sleep. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for being with me this evening. And we will see you next week. Wait. Hold the phone, Joan. I won't see you next week for Communications from Home. Do you know why? Because I'm actually taking a vacation. I haven't had a real vacation in almost 8 years. Yeah, since Mom moved in. So I am going to be in Colorado, actually, from the 14th through the 22nd. And so I will be posting pictures, and I don't know, I might do a quick live stream from there, depending on whether or not I can get signal, right? So anyway, with that, I'll see you back here in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks for Communications from Home. And we might be actually doing the Unity Breath meditation together. Yeah, I love that. I do. All right. So thank you so much for everybody in the live chat who are with me this evening. And for those who are watching via the recorded show, thank you so much for being here as well. I do appreciate you guys. Yeah. So Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.